Elevation Nation. I hope you're hungry because we're cooking up an episode tonight with the co-founder, or as he likes to call himself, the sous chef at Pepper. It's an app that we're going to get all into in the culinary world. We have the one and only, I feel like we've known each other for years, even though we just met, Matt Schkolnick. Welcome to Elevation Nation, brother. I am so excited to welcome you to our community.
Thank you both for having me. It really means a lot. I feel like I've known you guys for forever. I've seen your guys' stuff on social media for quite some time, and I'm just honored to be here and share my story and chat with get to know you guys both.
We are honored to have you. I always say this, Sam, but it feels like an elevated conversation tonight. It's gonna be something special. I mean, Matt, it's kind of crazy. We used to live right near each other, and we never ever crossed paths, or maybe we did. I don't know, but like I know the other night we were gonna cross paths. Never happened, but we're here now, having an awesome conversation just about life, what you're doing with Pepper, and we're going to get into how you elevate your mental fortitude as well, which is really important for Elevation Nation. But first, Matt, we know you now. Elevation Nation, there's probably a few people who know you as well, but there are other people across the globe who might not know you, and we like to start off every podcast with an elevator pitch. I know you got it down because you probably give it a lot.
Yeah, I can do that. My name is Matt Schkolnick. I grew up in a super small town in New Jersey called Mountainside, about 45 minutes outside of New York City. Grew up as a competitive soccer player. That was kind of my thing growing up, fall, spring, summer. Loved playing soccer. I went to a Jewish sleepaway camp also throughout my childhood, which was pretty informative, and met some of my best friends in the world there. NJY camps, was a camp counselor for 2 years. I went to Penn State, majored in accounting, had an absolutely amazing experience there. Had no clue everyone that went to Penn State is from Philly. So as a Jersey guy, I was pretty surprised and thrown off that everyone already knew each other basically. But ended up doing a fraternity there, met some of my brothers for life. I got pretty involved with Deloitte sophomore year of college. I did their leadership conference and internship and ended up starting my career there. So I worked for 3 years in M&A at Deloitte. Unfortunately, pretty early on in my experience at Deloitte is January 2020, right before the pandemic. I just kind of realized that it wasn't for me. And I really love the people. I thought kind of working this corporate job was exactly what I wanted to do. But when I got into the day-to-day of what that life actually looked like, I kind of just was, I just realized it didn't kind of fit my strengths as a person and who I was. And so pretty early on, a childhood friend of mine and I started working on an app. It was a social app for cooking. We got really into cooking during COVID, probably like a lot of other people. And the idea was really just to create this community of home cooks to document, share, find, explore recipes and food. And just about 3 months ago, I quit my job at Deloitte. And so now I'm full-time on the app. I live in New York City currently, feel super grateful that I've met so many great, amazing people, have a bunch of different groups that I like to hang out with, including the Maryland guys who Sam and Parker, you guys are friends with. And yeah, man, I'm just trying to elevate my life, elevate the people around me. I've really resonated with what you guys are focused on in Elevation Nation, and I'm stoked to talk and get to know you guys better.
Hell yeah. Well, first of all, we know you know, kudos to Miles for hooking us up. He's the food guy.
I was going to say that.
He is the food guy. So, I mean, and Miles is always about food. Sam's about food too, different way, I think. But I want to touch on one thing that you said in that little elevator pitch, Matt, is that you said, fortunately or unfortunately, it didn't go well at Deloitte. Because to me, it sounds like you're pretty fortunate to be where you are right now.
I absolutely am. And I think that's something that's important to clarify is that I learned so much there that I was able to take and apply to Pepper. I was working with early stage startups, companies that were looking to invest in them and understanding the businesses. And while it wasn't the perfect day-to-day fit of what I was doing, I know that it happened for a reason. I know that I was placed there for a reason. And I truly take so much of what I learned there in my experiences. I think every young professional needs to work for kind of a corporate company at the beginning just to learn how shit gets done and see how other people operate. Something my dad always says is like observe other people's leadership styles, and you can take from them. You can say, I don't want to lead like that, but you need to have an experience where you see people operate at a high level, which can then allow you to maybe figure out how you want to operate and go off and kind of find that passion of yours.
I think your dad has some pretty damn good advice there. And I always say that when people ask about, what should I do post college? I think one of the best places you can start is in consulting, because you don't necessarily specialize in anything off the bat, but to your point, Matt, you're going to learn how to get shit done, because consultants grind and they're efficient and they know how business should be done. And so I absolutely love starting your career there. We certainly have a lot in common, that all of us started our careers in the Big Four. But I want to throw it back really quick to maybe younger Matt, competitive soccer player Matt. What was the dream when you were a kid? What did you want to grow up to be?
It's a great question, Sam. I really wanted to work in sports. Like, I thought maybe sports agent or manager or working for a professional team. Like, I actually still want to do that at some point in my life. I love the Premier League. Like, I just think it's this massive industry that is so much beyond just the sport. Like, the history and the brands and the different ways that they monetize. And like, I love FIFA growing up. I don't know if you guys mess around with FIFA, but I was obsessed with sports. Like, watched them, played them, wanted to interact with the players. And
Are we going to unwind the FIFA scandals, or is that for a different pod?
no, maybe that's for a different pod. But yeah, I think I would be like a sports agent or manager or working for a professional sports team. Like, I think I just love being a part of a team. Like, I think there's nothing better than looking around you and everyone in a room or on a team is trying to accomplish the same goal and kind of trying to get rid of your ego, basically, in like pursuit of something bigger than you.
I think all of us had that kind of similar childhood dream.
Yeah. Wait. What about you guys? Tell me what you guys want to do.
Tell you Parker's right now. I know exactly what Parker wanted to be when he was growing up. I think you're going to need to imagine first. Parker, there's an echo. You're going to have to restart again. Someone's coming through somewhere
You're good.
else.
Keep going.
Are you sure?
Positive. You're good.
Okay. Parker, when he was little, you're going to have to picture this, and I will send you some pictures. Parker had this crazy eye condition that I can never pronounce, but one of his eyes was all jacked up. So he had these big-ass...
Amblyopia instrabismus.
Thank
it's
you
not
so
that
much.
hard.
It's pretty hard.
It's
heard
really
it like 3 times in your life. It's pretty hard, dude. Amblyomastrisbismus.
Okay, all right. That was a botch. That was a big botch. Yeah.
All right. So Parker had these circular, big-ass, like Stuart Little glasses, and he was so cute. And he didn't think he was going to be able to play sports, but he proved all of his doctors wrong, and he was goalie and catcher in high school. And so Parker always wanted to be a professional baseball player. But then, what did you like to say, Parker? Then you realized you weren't growing anymore, and that dream went out the window, and you were driving by houses and were like, shit, there's so many kids that play baseball. I don't know if I can be a pro.
I think it was like one day I was, I started freshman year on my varsity baseball team. Not by choice. The varsity catcher got hurt on the first game. So I was thrown right into it, like he tore his ACL, and like I didn't even have like enough equipment. He like gave me his equipment. So I was thrown right in. I didn't bat for 2 years, but I batted 330 and 350 like junior and senior year. So you learned, right? You get put in the ringer. But like we would drive down in our neighborhood, I'd be like, damn, like there's so many people like in the world. There's no chance. There's absolutely zero chance this is happening. And you know what? I wanted to go to a Big Ten school and playing Big Ten baseball, Big Ten soccer, Big Ten basketball in Sam's book. It's just not happening. Sam wanted to be a professional basketball player. Learned really quickly that
chef.
Okay, well
Really?
you can still be a chef.
I know.
Right?
My
Right,
dream, Matt, is when I make a shit ton of money, I don't want to be a chef that has to work at a restaurant because they don't sleep normal hours, and I love sleep. But I want to be culinarily trained professionally so that I know how to make incredible stuff and I know all the techniques. So once I make my money, I'm going to use the Pepper app and start training myself with some cool recipes.
Dude, we're going to make an entire section, Sam, that's just you. And like your recipes, there's going to be classes, people will pay for live streams. Like,
I love
think I can already see it in my head. what would your like cuisine be if you had a specialty?
I am unbelievable at doing this combo of things. Looking at what is in my fridge and pantry, picking a grain, a vegetable, and a protein, and then picking a cuisine type and coming up with something off the jump from my dome.
That's a
my
skill
skill
that a
set.
lot of people wish that they had. Like that's super, super important that a lot of people just don't have.
I'm not good at following recipes. I'm good at bullshitting stuff with those three.
I
It's
know.
like spinning a wheel.
I know.
Yeah,
Good at
Parker
bullshit.
doesn't like my food. Yeah, good at bullshit.
No, your food's good. You're just
you.
a bullshitter sometimes.
I am a bullshit.
But I think that's actually like how it kind of should be. I'm similar in the sense that I just need some inspiration to kind of get me started of
100%.
like ideating a dish. And I too, I don't like to follow specific recipes with like, you know, an exact amount. Like a lot of it is just kind of your feel, especially around the spices and stuff. There you go. That's a great book.
Have you read this? This is like
yeah,
my Bible for that kind of cooking. I'm holding up salt, fat, heat, and acid and heat. Sorry for people that aren't watching.
There's like I've watched like the Netflix, I guess maybe it's like a recreation or something of that book.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? That's awesome. I
Yeah,
have
she's
not
got
read
like
it
she's got a
at all.
Netflix special. Are you guys?
Have you
Okay.
read the book, Matt?
I haven't read the book. I've seen like the special on Netflix. That's called
Okay,
the
we're
same
getting
thing.
as an Elevation Nation gift. We're going to send you this book. This is the biggest book that we've ever sent to anyone on Elevation Nation. It literally is my favorite cookbook I've ever read. You are going to love it. Okay, we're doing that.
Stoked.
Sounds like a Bible or something like that. Sam's
It is.
Bible.
Are you
It's
guys,
a cooking
uh,
Bible, dude.
Are you guys readers in general?
Oh,
Huge.
yeah.
Okay, let's dive into it. If that's okay. Don't let me
wanna-
guide the conversation, but I'm curious.
Listen, we're flexible. We do have it at the end, but let's go into books. I'm down. We love reading. Give us one of our questions for our rapid fire section is what is a book recommendation you have for Elevation Nation? So we're gonna jump to that now. You got one for us, Matt?
I do. Yeah. 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Berkman. I've got it around here somewhere. So 4,000 weeks is how many weeks you have in your life if you live to be 80, which is, I think, like the average lifespan of like people today is about 80 years old. And the book is around like productivity, and which is like such a buzzword of like, am I being productive in my life? Am I being productive in my day? And he kind of puts this spin on it of like, productivity like doesn't actually relate to like how much work you get done or like, you know, your successes or your accomplishments. It's like, are you spending your time on this earth in a way that you are enjoying and that you are learning and that you are kind of like becoming the best version of yourself? And I just think the idea of like recognizing how short our lives are in order to like put you into the present and cause you to chase after stuff that you actually care about is a concept that I'm trying to like learn more about. I know it can be sad to some people. I don't think so personally. I think recognizing that, you know, our lives are short and is like kind of a really powerful way to live.
I just added it to my Goodreads. Thank you. I
mean,
love it.
I think at the end of the day, inevitably, we're all gonna die. Whether you like it or not.
No one has
That's
ever escaped it,
That's
Parker.
the fucking reality. And I know it's scary. And, you know, a lot of people avoid thinking about death. And to be honest, I think this year, Sam knows this, like for me personally, I've experienced a lot of death in front of me over this year. And then on top of that, I've had some, you know, because of those experiences, I have a new perspective. And it's hard to think about, but at the same time, I'm like, wait, it's inevitably going to happen. So why don't we just spend every moment with the joy and the happiness and the challenge and the struggle that we choose? Because the struggles are coming inevitably too. So you might as well pick a struggle, right, to be a part of. And I think once you realize that, that's when the elevating happens. That's when you go after what you want to go at. Right, Matt? I mean, I'm sure
I'm
your
fired up. I
experience-
really have the chills
Yeah.
right now. Like, yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
Exactly. Like Sam and I are still in our big four jobs, right? We like it. We enjoy it. You know, it ebbs and flows. There's some good days, some bad days. There's some great months, some bad months. but we're passionate about Elevation Nation. We're passionate about helping people. We're passionate about getting in front of a room of 250 people like we're doing Friday and giving them a new perspective on how they can start their new journey, start their next path, right? And that feels good. That's a day well served on earth. So, Matt, I'm going to throw it back to you with another question. I know we're talking about books, but what does a day well served on earth look like for you? Pun intended, by the way. I'm just saying.
Yeah. For me, a day well spent starts with a form of exercise in the morning. I'm like a huge morning exerciser. I just think it sets the tone for the day. I used to, like, in college and even out, I would like roll out of bed at 8:45 and like hop on my computer half asleep and like have a coffee. And that was just like the shittiest feeling ever of just feeling exhausted going into the day. I do more now before 9 o'clock in the morning than probably I was doing in an entire day, like a couple years ago. So I think getting in like a morning exercise, I love the steam room, little cold shower kind of wakes me up in the morning, gets me fired up. Start with some journaling. I think like something that I'm really trying to focus on is a little bit more like reflection. I think we all have a tendency to be like, go, 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 which is good in some circumstances. Like if you want to be productive and you want to like really get after it, like it's always good to go. But I'm trying to slow down a little bit, be a little bit more present, reflect on maybe the day before or what I'm about to do. Right now, most of my day is, building Pepper, focusing on the community, on the product, on marketing. And I think through that, Parker, like to your point earlier, it's such a fucking challenge, but I'm learning to enjoy that challenge of elevating myself, of growing. Like the enjoyment of a good challenge, I think is something, an attitude shift that I'm trying to do. And I would encourage other people to do is like not be scared of a challenge, but be really excited that I have the opportunity to learn. And so every day with Pepper, whether it's investors or a marketing strategy or product design, like I don't know what I'm doing. Like I worked in consulting and M&A, like I'm figuring it out as I go. But I think having people in my network that I can tap into for questions has been like a huge unlock. And then I'll just say this, like something that's really important to me whenever I look back on a day well spent, it's usually like seeing a friend or a family member and, being present in conversation with them. And something that's really important to me is like trying to like help a friend through something, whether it's like exercise or talking through a business idea or talking through a new recipe that they want to cook. Like I feel my best when I'm helping other people. And I think it's just like a good way to live my life. Like that is kind of actually would be something that I want to do in the future, is like just basically just meet with people to like help them through whatever they're going through.
I said when we started this thing that I felt like I know you for a really long time, and now I'm getting even more weirded out because Parker's probably laughing inside. That's like pretty much identical to my answer. We did this exercise where we mapped out our ideal day.
I did this yesterday, guys.
No way.
I'm part of this group. We meet on Tuesday nights, and like the exercise last night was like, what does your ideal day look like?
Dude, serendipitous. I'm so glad that you did that, because I think, you meet people in your life. Matt, I told you this when we first met. I was like, dude, within 3 minutes, like I know you're an elevator. Like you have that mindset, you just get it. And I think not everyone's an elevator, and that's okay. But for those that are looking for more in their life and are willing to step outside their comfort zone, like, yeah, your day you want to ideally look like getting some exercise, going, to mentor someone, to be mentored by someone else, to help people, to go face a challenge and try to grow and learn. And so I think it brought a smile to my face, because it's nice to see that there are other people out there in this world who get so juiced up over that type of ideal day. And I know that you're now doing that almost every single day with going out on your own and doing Pepper full time. You're able to create that ideal day, hopefully almost, if not every single day. So I commend you for taking that leap, and I want to get into that. Parker, did you want to jump in?
I appreciate it, Sam. Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah,
bro.
I'll just say the last thing I'll say on that subject, which I think is important, is I've always been a believer of like, if you're not a little bit uncomfortable, then you're not really like growing. And in my view, like what is a life to be lived if you never challenge yourself and never like try to grow and earn? If you're comfortable with every situation, like that's just not in my opinion, like a fun way to live my life. And so I think those concepts of like putting yourself in forcibly uncomfortable situations while recognizing that I don't have that much time here, so that's why I want to put myself in those situations. That's like the link between those two concepts, I guess.
I love the way you put it, because Sam and I had a really interesting conversation yesterday. Like I said, we're speaking in front of 250 people on Friday. I am a good public speaker. I've done public speaking for the last 10 whatever many years. I get nervous every freaking time. I like just get so riled up. I'm like, oh my God, like how's it gonna go? Like what's gonna come out of my mouth, even though I know what I'm saying, blah blah blah. And it's a challenge because every time I have to exercise a shit ton of mental fortitude. I got to know who I am, what I bring to the table, know what I want out of this conversation, this workshop, and show my fuel, my passion for what I'm talking about. Then there's Sam. Doesn't get nervous at all. He just sits there, gets in front of everyone, probably practices a little bit here and there, and he crushes it. And then I'm like, shit. Like, okay. So I challenged Sam yesterday. I asked him a question. I said, you know, you don't get nervous. You're not, in my eyes, I see is that maybe you're not challenging yourself. And then I'm like, do we need to get in front of like 80,000 people in a stadium for Sam to get nervous? I'm curious what you think about this, Sam. I really do.
Well, this was an interesting argument. I'm cracking up that you brought this back up. But essentially, Matt, what I told Parker, because Parker got mad at me because I was like, dude, we're going to go in confident. Like, we're going to crush this thing. Like, I'm ready to roll. And he's like, yeah, I know. Like, we're going to do great. I'm a little nervous. He's like, are you nervous? And I was just like, no. He's like, what do you mean you're not nervous? Like, he got mad at me. He's like, do you not care? Why aren't you nervous? And I said, listen, I am not good at a ton of things. If there's one thing I know I'm good at, it's public speaking. Like, I would rather for $1 million go give a workshop speech to a bajillion people than, like, even make a free throw for $1 million. It's the one thing that I feel most comfortable and confident doing, and I know that's my forte. And so Parker, it took him a while for him to not get mad at me when he was like, okay, like, I can't be mad at you for not getting nervous. Like, that doesn't mean I don't care. I'm not nervous that we're going to fuck up. I'm nervous for the things that are outside of our control. Will it resonate with the students?
Oh,
is the
that's
tech
so
going to
you
go
too.
out? Like, that's the stuff I get nervous for. But in terms of me delivering and being confident,
which is hilarious. It's the complete opposite.
That's why you guys balance each other
yeah,
out.
we compliment each other.
It's so funny. Yeah, no, I think it was a good point. I think it's something that is funny that we brought up yesterday. But Matt, let's talk about Pepper. What you guys are doing, what you guys are building. It's pretty awesome to be able to think of something in your brain, right? This creation, this idea, and bring it into the world, manifest that idea into something physical. And even better is when you see people actually using it. Talk about that. Talk us through that.
Yeah, Parker. I love that you described it that way because that's actually how I kind of think about it. The way that I kind of feel about it is that I truly feel like I was put on this earth to like make an impact on other people. Like I said that earlier in this interview. And I think there's a lot of really cool, like in-person ways to do that, right? You meet up with a friend or you go in, out to dinner with people and you have a conversation. But the thing about like software and like creating an app that is available to people all around the world is just the reach that it can have on people. And I feel like I am leaning into something that I am naturally so passionate about, which is bringing people together over another thing that I love, which is food. And so for me, it just feels like natural to be like putting my everything into this. It's like a manifestation of who I am as a person in a way. And I think if you can kind of find those things that make you tick and that you're passionate about and that align with the person that you want to be and the impact that you want to have, it makes you just like so excited every day to like want to further that and want to make it better and want to reach more people. So it is like, I feel like it's like the honor of my life that I've been able to create something that is like downloaded and used by so many people around the world. And I literally just feel grateful. Like it's hard. It is really hard for me to comprehend sometimes. It hits me when like we get an email from a random person around the world that's like, hey, I really wish that I could do this on the app. I'm like, you took your time out of your day to like try to improve something just because you wanted to improve it. Like I do have a hard time kind of coming to terms with it, but there are some moments where I just feel like so like thankful and grateful that I was able to do this, to take something from my head and put it into the physical world or digital world.
You realize how insane that sounds, right? In the most beautiful, incredible way. We talk to founders all the time, and they're like, entrepreneurship's not what it's cut out to be. You know, it's a grind. And I get it. Parker and I are running our thing, like, and we'll get into some of the hard parts. But your first instinct was not going to, yeah, it's tough. Like, this is a grind. It's not what I thought it would be. Like, it's just me and my co-founder. We got to find funding. There's legal issues. We're building a product. Like, your first thing was being grateful and saying how lucky you were to be put on this earth to impact people. And I think what I love about that, Matt, and your mindset is something that Parker and I talk about a lot with our entrepreneurial journey, which was as soon as we started putting money at the forefront of our concept, we lost all the passion for it. But as soon as we brought it back to, we want to impact as many young people as humanly possible, get them feeling better about being a young adult so they know they're not alone, and help build the most amazing nation of young adults that are conquering the real world. Like, I don't care if we make $0. And as soon as we flipped that, I am so grateful every day that I get to work with my best friend, connect incredible people together, meet new people like you, and go speak to high school, college, and recent graduates every single week. What an unbelievable journey that I'm on. But when I flip it and go, damn it, like, they're not paying us to go speak at this school. Like, we're volunteering, right? Like, then I'm like, oh, shit, what are we doing? But, like, I love that your mindset went to the positive, because I think how lucky are we? We get to build something that we're all passionate about. Like, that's the biggest blessing on earth.
You guys know Jesse Itzler?
Of course. Very well. Not personally, but
we've seen him speak in person.
That's sweet. Yeah, there's this clip of him that says, like, pressure is a privilege. Like, all the gold is on the other side of pressure. And I think that it's so aligned with the conversation that we're having of, like, if you're never under any pressure, like, you know, the stakes aren't high. Like, you're never going to elevate yourself. Like, you're never going to Parker. Oh boy. I fired Parker up.
Parker's about to combust.
Come on.
No, yeah.
No, I only combust when I'm listening to Goose. Just saying. That's how
but yeah, Sam, like, I just, you know, I love, like, the get to do versus have to do attitude. And, like, I know I'm so lucky. Like, that's what I can never, like, you know, I'm just a positive person. I'm an optimistic person. Like, I almost think you have to be. And, like, if you're starting something from scratch, or, like, the odds of this being successful, you know, are so low. And you're just like, I don't want to see that. That's over here. Like, I'm looking in this direction, and I'm taking the signs from the universe that this is going to work. And even for us, when we got started, it was like the fact that, like, you know, some initial people told us it was a good idea, or like someone like tweeted about us, like, oh, have you guys seen this new app? Like, you take those signs from the universe to keep going. And even if it's super small, and maybe it's your mom telling you, like, hey, honey, I think this is really cool. Like, just run with that, and, like, in your head, use that as confidence to, like, keep going.
All right, here we go. We're loading up. Here's where the conversation's going. And I know we talked about Pepper, and we're going to continue to talk about Pepper. But what you said about nothing happens unless you feel that pressure, right? Pressure comes when you put yourself outside of your comfort zone. The comfort zone is a cozy place, right? The comfort zone is more attainable today with all the tools and the resources that we have at our disposal every day. Every individual has that comfort. Let's take the phone. Have the phone. You can just ride the comfort zone using your phone. Great. Okay. But to your point, Sam and I believe, just like you, Matt, nothing good happens in the comfort zone. It might be fine. Great. It's cozy. And a lot of people like to live there. But nothing good happens for elevators who want to elevate, who want to continue to push themselves outside their comfort zone. Because you know what? Although it's hard, although it's challenging, if you're able to get outside that comfort zone, you can see that there is a lot of potential for you to do some freaking amazing things. And when you get outside that comfort zone and you fail, elevators know that failure just leads to more progress. And guess what? If you don't fail, you're already at progress or success. And so Sam and I love to talk about our concept of mental fortitude all the time. Can you guys hear me? I hope I didn't.
You're back.
Okay.
You froze.
You're back.
And mental fortitude is that thing that can help you when you try to go outside the comfort zone. And I know elevators always try to go outside the comfort zone. And let me break down mental fortitude for you, Matt, and Elevation Nation. Mental fortitude, if you look it up in a dictionary or you see it online, it's like the courage in the face of adversity. Okay, great. Let's take that a step further. Mental fortitude to us is knowing who you are at your core, what you're good at, but also what you're not good at, what you like, what you don't like, your strengths or weaknesses. And then using that foundation of knowing who you are to build the vision of where you want to go. And elevators know that they're more likely to find success if they go in a place that fits who they are. And then thirdly, the fuel, the thing that inspires them to keep going and pushing to hit that vision. So when times get tough, they can revert back to their mental fortitude. When times get good, they're grounded in mental fortitude because they know the bad times are inevitable, just like the good times when you push yourself outside the comfort zone.
Well done,
that,
Parker. He's been practicing that for a while.
I mean, I got to get in front of 250 people on Friday. Dude, I got to get ready. This
Great.
is my practice right here.
Exactly.
Not going to lie, I had to look up if thirdly was a word, just making sure, but it looks like it is, so you're good.
Oh, hell yeah.
Parker, I think the way that you deliver it is also really good. Like the pace at which you're speaking, I think like adds to kind of the excitement in like from the viewer perspective or listener perspective. So you do that tomorrow, like the crowd's going to be like, and then like, yeah, like, you know, they keep
that's
wanting
public
more.
that's like 95% of public speaking. It has nothing to do with what you're actually saying. It's just how you say it. Let's be real.
So true.
It's a great spiel, Parker. I think mental fortitude for us, Matt, is what we love to preach at Elevation Nation because I think there's this generation of young adults, right, that I believe is very different than our parents' generation and our grandparents' generation. And let me tell you why I think that. Back when our grandparents were, you know, coming to the States, building their lives, you know, I like to joke. I had a great conversation with my grandmother. God bless her. She's turning 90. We're going to Chicago to celebrate her. And
God bless.
we were talking, God bless. And she said, we were talking about her college days and why she went to college. She went to Purdue and what her major was. Does anyone want to guess what my grandmother majored in? Home economics.
I was going to say, you didn't even give me a chance.
Sorry. She got a degree in home economics. How to run an efficient home. And why did she go to college, she said? Not for the home economics degree. She went to go find a Jewish husband, to be perfectly honest. And she found one. And I was like, wow, Grandma, what a crazy story. And she said, we got married. I was 22. We had kids. We moved to the suburbs, and we started raising the home, and raising your father. That was their dream back then. And not that that wasn't elevating and going outside the comfort zone. That was what was expected of them, and that was their dream. That was their vision. And what fueled them was a comfortable life. In our parents' generation, my dad, one of the, you know, early entrepreneurs, starting his own thing and building his career and his business, a little bit more entrepreneurial, different vision, a new dream. In our generation, with these phones and social media at our fingertips, seeing endless and countless possibilities for what our life could be, not just a businessman, not just a lawyer, not just a doctor, but you can be anything. You can be an app creator in the culinary arts world. You can be podcast hosts talking about life as a young adult. You can be anything.
You could be a chef.
You could be a chef.
On Pepper, right, Sam?
Pepper.
I was waiting for that.
I mean, I kind of hinted at it. I talked about Matt's life, but okay. You could be a chef on Pepper, right? You have all these new possibilities in your mind that you never thought was possible, that our grandparents and parents never thought were possible. And young people are more lost because of those options. And so without exercising mental fortitude, we just fall back into what's comfortable. There are millions of young elevators out there who don't know that they're elevators yet. They're in their comfort zone and they want to break out, but they don't know how. And so that's why I'm so grateful that we have this platform and we get to talk to young people like you, Matt, who were in that comfort zone of a beautiful, amazing corporate job and decided, you know what, there's something different that I want here and it's going to be scary, but I'm going to jump into it. And you exercised a hell of a lot of mental fortitude to do that. And so I commend you. And I'd love to talk about that jump for a minute, selfishly, because I want to learn. I'm still in consulting. I want to know how you had the confidence to go all in on your baby, on your idea, on what brings you joy and happiness.
Yeah, I guess first I just want to say thank you. Like I'm so fired up right now. And Sam, I couldn't agree more with like everything that you just said about like social media. Like you just kind of are opened up to this world and there's so many possibilities, but then people get lost in that. Like, where do I actually fit into that? So I really resonate with that. I think as it relates to like why I personally decided to go all in on it was a gut feeling. And I think that there's certain decisions in life that you make based off of data or maybe how much money you have in your bank account to fund yourself for however long, or you consult some of your friends and you get their thoughts. And then I think there's some decisions that you need to go off of like what your heart and what your body is telling you. Um, and this was one of those situations where my responsibilities at Deloitte were piling up, my responsibilities at Pepper were piling up. And truthfully, I was just waking up every day and I wasn't excited about what I was about to do. And if you guys have ever listened, one of my favorite speeches of all time, Steve Jobs at the Stanford commencement speech, he says, because he knew he was diagnosed with cancer, he kind of knew he was sick. He says, if you wake up too many days in a row, and, I asked myself, I basically said, when I wake up every morning, I ask myself, am I excited about what I'm about to do? And if I wake up too many days in a row and the answer is no, I know something needs to change. And I would say that's exactly what it was for me. I just knew something inside needed to change. I needed to take the risk. I needed to put myself out there. I needed to really push myself outside of the comfort zone in its fullest extent. And I think it's only when you do that can you really become that like highest version of yourself, because I just wasn't aligned with the person that I wanted to be. I was still splitting my time. It didn't feel good. I felt frustrated. I felt angry at and I'm not an angry person at all, but I was just like angry at the situation. And I just knew that I had to like follow this feeling that I had inside. Maybe it was rational, maybe it wasn't, but I also knew that when I looked back, I would never regret trying. I would only regret not trying and staying at my job for a couple more months. As you guys talked about earlier, like if I tried and failed, I can live with that. I'll go back. I tried it. I failed. I wasn't good enough. I took all that and I put it into my next venture, but I did not want to look back with the regret of not trying for money or for status or for prestige to stay at that job.
Well said. It's beautiful.
Man, so I mean, how many years
when are you
has
guys
it been
quitting?
now?
Like, I guess I'm curious. Just curious.
Okay,
about
yeah,
you guys.
we'll walk you through that. So, right now, fortunately, I think in the roles that we have great support and great leadership with Elevation Nation, and I'm very grateful. Sam and I don't work in the same. We work at the same company. We don't work in the same group, and so we have different leaders and people that we work with every day. I'm very fortunate that I am surrounded by people and leaders who see Elevation Nation as an extension of my consulting brand. And I am so grateful for that, because I don't think the corporate world has traditionally gone about that. They say, you work for us, which I do work for that company, but that's it. And you can't do any work beyond that. Whereas what we've learned, even with the elevator this week that we brought on, Emily Billings, right? She works a corporate job, but she has 250,000 followers on TikTok. And that's an extension of who she is. And I think companies are starting to realize that that's just how it is, and that's how it's going to be, and that's going to help them in the long run. I'm a human capital consultant. We talk about people and elevating mental fortitude all the time. Goes hand in hand. It's perfect. So when I say quit, I don't ever think about, oh, when's the day I'm quitting? Sam and I will go all in on Elevation Nation when the time is right. And we are getting closer and closer to that moment.
I have an important question that I don't know why this just popped into my head, but I feel like there are a lot of people that want to elevate their lives, whether that means challenging themselves or stepping out of their comfort zone. What would you guys say is the best place to like start exploring the idea of taking on a challenge or something? Because I don't even know the answer myself. I'm curious how you guys kind of see that.
Man, I'm curious what Sam's gonna say, because
Parker just got so close to the mic.
I told you I'm so used to my new setup, so it's like I'm figuring it out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you sound like the Kool-Aid man.
Love the Kool-Aid
It's a great
man.
question. I think there's different scales of getting outside your comfort zone, right? Matt, you mentioned something that you do in your morning routine that I do as well, taking a cold shower. To many, like, they gawk at that. Like, are you kidding me? I take a 20-minute hot shower. Like, it's the most relaxing part of my day. Like, I need it to unwind. Morning workouts? Are you crazy? No way. Like, I roll out of bed. So if you're at that level of needing to get outside your comfort zone, you could try something simple like that, right? A part of your routine. I'm reading this book right now that Miles actually recommended for me, and I will admit, it is very dense and very out there, so it's taking me a very long time to read it. It's called Becoming Supernatural. And in the chapter I'm reading right now, the guy's talking about how your morning routine, when you do the same thing every time, it becomes so routine in your brain, in your neural networks, that you don't think about it and you just glide through it, and that's not necessarily a positive thing. And so here I am with what I think, and Parker makes fun of me, an incredible, productive morning routine. But I do it without thinking. I wake up, I hit my meditation app without thinking. I wake up, I read my morning affirmations without really thinking about them. I wake up, I take my cold shower, and like it is what it is. I wake up and I work out every morning. But am I challenging myself? That now has become my comfort zone and my normal. So today, I did it all in a different order, just to fuck myself up. I know that doesn't seem like a big deal, but like I'm trying to slowly break these habits and do them a little bit differently to keep myself on my toes and to just change my energy so that I'm more intentional with these morning routines. So that was a long-winded answer.
I want to answer your question, Matt, but I want you to respond to Sam if you have anything.
I do have something to say to Sam. It reminded me of a conversation I had maybe yesterday about how when you're traveling, right? Like let's say you're in Europe or something and you see a church, you're like, oh my God, like that church is amazing. I want to learn about that church. Like it's so cool. And then you walk by a church in like your whatever city you live in and like you don't even notice it because that's just like part of that routine. So I think, Sam, you bring up a great point of like changing up your routine or doing something different is often the best place to start. Like just a small thing differently than you normally do. And so I like what you said about trying a cold shower or trying a morning workout. Like if you do something different, it kind of forces you to be a little bit more present about where you are because you feel a little bit funky because it's not your normal routine.
So my answer to your question, how can someone get started if they want to elevate themselves? And I think it goes off kind of what you guys are both saying.
Besides listening to this podcast, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, right? I guess that's the thing that we're always here, Tuesday, Thursday, right? Last 3 years. And it's not stopping.
Guys, respect so much. Like I know how difficult it is. Like I read some crazy stat about the amount of podcasts that have over 10 video or 10 podcasts. Like it's so low. So respect to you guys for continuing it. I really admire
this
that.
is going to be like episode 280 something. I don't know.
That's
right?
fucking insane. You guys should be proud.
Insane.
That's absolutely insane.
So my answer to your question is that you know those moments in your life where you get this really unique feeling that you're in maybe a special place, or you're having a really special conversation, or you're having a really special just feeling about something, right? For example, you're at graduation, right? And you go up, it's a special moment in your life. It's kind of an out-of-body experience. Okay, that's a really special moment. That's a powerful moment. What about a moment, for me, when I got engaged, I got on the knee. That's a powerful moment, right? When Sam, Miles, and I went to the middle of Pennsylvania, in the middle of nowhere, and spent a weekend without our phones, that was a powerful moment. People need more powerful moments in their life outside of the typical powerful moment that they would get. Graduation, marriage, having a kid. I believe elevating starts with having that unique experience where you kind of just get clicked into something. You're like, you realize you have this special, unique experience that changes a little bit of perspective for you. And so, we could say it's the podcast in some sense. This is unique. This is a unique situation that all of us have ever been in, right? That's pretty powerful. But personally, where I want to take this thing is provide a place for people to have that powerful moment that is going to wake them the fuck up and say, what am I waiting for? The time is literally right now. And so maybe that's the idea. I don't know.
It's two polar opposite answers. I'm like, yeah, start a cold shower. You're just like, have an impactful moment.
No,
but
like it's the same
there
thing because those are
micro.
those are micro things, right? That we
There
can
are levels
do.
to this game.
There's levels.
Sure.
I just think if you want to get started, there's something about I don't know. You have to hit your emotional side hard to get you to click into something, because then you'll never make that change.
Yeah. I think you're right, Parker. I'm just giving you shit. That's why we compliment each other. It's a great question, Matt. I want to move us into, first off, I love this conversation. Your mindset is so aligned with all the elevators. I feel like we haven't given Pepper enough love, and I want to make sure that I give you the opportunity to speak a little bit more about not the reason why we brought you on, because we brought you on for you and your soul and your mind, but what you're working on. So can you go a little bit more into detail about, obviously we know where Pepper started now and the foundation for it. Where are you taking it? How can people learn more or get involved? And what's really the dream for Pepper moving forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say kind of what we're focused on right now is when you think about cooking, you're going on to Pepper. And I think why we really started it from the beginning was because our generation, a lot of us recognize how beneficial cooking is to your life. Like whether you talk about the financial impacts, cooking for a dinner party, impressing a significant other, like the health benefits, like there are so many benefits that we all know about. But I feel like people weren't resonating with the New York Times Cooking and the Epicurious and kind of these professional food blogger type platforms. And so giving people a place where they feel proud about the omelet that they made and the vegetables that they added because they're now saving a couple extra dollars every day and they find a new protein bites recipe on Pepper, just a place for the everyday home cook to feel comfortable, to want to learn, to want to talk to someone else who might have the same dietary restriction as them. I think that is kind of what we're focused on building. And so a big part of what we do is we talk to people about how do you find recipes today? What is the biggest problem that you face about cooking? And I think just exploring that genuine curiosity that I have about cooking and food and people and psychology and behavioral has allowed us to design a platform that is resonating with people and is really solving a problem. Because I think if you think about wanting to start anything, a lot of people start with something that they think is cool, but it's are you actually solving a problem that people are facing? Because those are the ones that people are going to come back to and buy and spend money on and continue to use. And so I think really the future of Pepper is just being that place, the most engaged community of home cooks and solving a bunch of different problems that people face, whether it's finding a recipe, documenting recipes, learning how to cook. Like we want to get into like the education space. Obviously that's like a huge part of how do I like properly, you know, dice an onion or whatever it is. I think that's something that's really important to us, and just learning about, you know, all this stuff with AI is really interesting. Like what is the impact of AI on how I could do a customized meal plan? Things like that. So we're just going to keep talking to people, talking to users, solving problems for people. And, I'm going to keep trying to enjoy the journey.
I'm so fucking jazzed up right now. Like, now you got me pumped because, one, I have about a bajillion ideas for you guys that I want to run by you, and we can do that offline. But two, Parker and I, when we were first starting Elevation Nation, we were thinking through all the things that young people have no idea how to do. And I want to tell a quick story. Living in New York City, I don't know if I've ever told this on the podcast before, right? Moved to New York, first time really living like on my own in a city, not in college. And I'm like, all right, New York's expensive. All my life, I was told Trader Joe's, an expensive grocery store. Like, it's a lot of prepared stuff. It's high in sodium, like smaller. That's just like growing up in the suburbs. We went to a big-ass grocery store. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to go to Trader Joe's. And so I remember I went to this like little mom and pop, like barely a grocery store, no carts, nothing, like could barely move. And I bought like pasta and sauce and like 5 vegetables, and it was like $87. And I remember calling my mom on the way home and being like, Mom, like I think I got like scammed. Like I'm looking at the receipt and none of this makes sense. And I don't even really have enough to cook a meal. What is going on? And so like the reason I tell that story and why I think that's hilarious is there's this huge learning curve to cooking and being healthy and grocery shopping and figuring out what works for you and your timeline and the foods you like and what upsets your stomach and the money that you have. And so I laugh now, like I go into Trader Joe's, I know exactly what I'm getting to make those 28 meals that I love to make. Maybe I'll do something fun and new that I find on the Pepper app, but I know where everything is in TJ's. And then based on my day, what am I going to make tonight? Like I have rice going right now in my rice cooker that Parker got me for my birthday because I'm going to go make Mexican after this. Like, and so I love this idea of bringing something that's so core and integral to humans and just educating and elevating how we experience that. And so, again, I have a bajillion ideas. We're going to have a brainstorming session after this. But
I have an idea of what you can have for dessert, Sam.
Parker also got me. All right, go ahead. Parker gives great birthday gifts. Parker's birthday, like, I got to really up my game. Go ahead.
What did you get?
Parker got me, okay, the rice cooker by far is the best gift he's ever gotten me. Like, the rice cooker is the
with
best
all
thing
the
I use.
seasonings.
I
You have
love
to remember
rice
that.
With the seasonings. He got me a bunch of seasonings. But this year, he got me this thing that I will admit I use less. But when I do use it, it's a crowd favorite in the apartment. It's this thing where you put in frozen fruit and it turns it into sorbet.
Ooh.
Because I am addicted to Trader Joe's frozen mango. Like, I eat an entire bag every night. Parker's like, dude, make some sorbet. So another great gift from the P-Man. Thank you, Parker.
There's
Eats
nothing
mangoes like it's like.
I think I have a problem.
There's got to be something wrong with the amount of mangoes he eats.
Yeah, my stomach is in constant shambles, dude.
Yeah.
I eat like 3 mangoes a night.
I feel like getting a personalized gift for like something that someone knows about you, the real special thing that I am a huge proponent of is adding a handwritten note. I think the art of handwritten notes is very lost upon our society in a way where it's very easy to, dude, I have, you want to know something? My friend, okay, this is fucking crazy. Just wait a second. My friend has the same exact stationery.
No way.
But it's just like, isn't this the same one? And he has his name at the top.
Is it corny to have like your name on stationery?
Bro, it's beautiful.
Like, here you go. My name's on this thing.
I have a wall over here of my handwritten notes, and I love writing handwritten notes. I just like, I don't know. There's something really special about it. And
I need to buy some new stationery.
Family, friend, someone you're interested in, maybe. Like, I think just a handwritten note is really special.
It's a beautiful, beautiful touch. Parker, now that he's getting married, you know, he gets to get me fun, cool bachelor gifts for my kitchen. God, he has no idea what I'm about to get him for his married life. Like, he's going to appreciate it, but it's not fun, man. Your life is now all about work.
You're talking to me?
He's rattled.
Are you talking
I'm talking
Matt?
to you.
I'm
talking to you,
about
big boy.
work? What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Your life is just
I'm gonna
making
tell
JJ
JJ
happy,
that.
and I'm gonna
tell JJ that.
exactly.
And
she's in favor. I'm getting you only gifts that benefit JJ. Is essentially what I'm saying.
All right, I deserve some gifts here. Like, we've got this registry, we've got all these things, and like, yeah, they're nice. Like, we got some new stuff for us to use. And even the coffee maker, I put it on the registry, right? I wanted this beautiful coffee maker that would grind its own beans and then pour a cup of coffee through, like, great. Like, I'm obsessed with my coffee. I open the thing, plug it in, and it doesn't even fucking work. I have to send it back and get a new one. Like, this amazing coffee maker. I'm not even saying the brand. The brand's legit. And it's just like...
Poor thing. First
Parker,
world problems.
how did you and JJ meet?
JJ and I went to the University of Maryland together, and I was a year older than her. She was in a sorority that we socialized with, and that was it, man. Like, literally, I met my future wife in college over 5 years ago, which is kind of crazy to think about. 6 years ago at this point.
Interesting. And Sam, are you in the dating world at all?
I'm in the dating world. We are single and mingling, and I have a girl that I'm in love with. Her name's Elevation Nation, and I spend most of my time on her right now. But that's okay. I'm loving this phase of my life. I get to get fun gifts from Parker. He's about to get like a can of paint to make the apartment spruced up or something for me. So different stages. Matt, listen, I really think we could do this all night, and I kind of want to, but I also want to make sure that we hit on some of the really key questions that I wanted to ask you, if that's cool. A couple of them we already hit. So we have this section called Rapid Fire, where we ask a question, first thing that pops in your mind, and one of them we love to do is books. Thank you for already giving us that rec. 4,000 weeks, right? Is that what it is?
Or
8,000? I can't remember.
4,000 weeks, which is, remember, if you live to be 80, that's
80.
how many weeks you have in your life,
on my
which is
Goodreads.
the average lifespan.
It's crazy. I'm going to have to read that one. I want to ask you, though, another rapid fire question. We're both into the culinary world, all three of us. You've learned a ton of great dishes, techniques, recipes from all the amazing home cooks and professional chefs through Pepper. I want to ask you, what is one dish that you now know how to make that sticks out that you're like, hell yeah, this is impressive?
That's a good question. So I feel like in general as a chef, like I really do stick to the basics, and I don't try to be anything that I'm not. I think just cooking a nice steak in a cast iron skillet, cooking it for a couple of minutes in the oven, and then basting it back in the cast iron with garlic and butter, is like, to me, like, chef's kiss, because the people that go out and buy a 100 and whatever dollar steak at like a steakhouse, when you can make a better one just cooked the exact way that you like it at home for 15 or 20 bucks, I think that's like a huge unlock in kind of your culinary arsenal.
Sam's never going to want to come out.
I cannot wait.
I said, you're never going to want to come out to dinner with me anymore.
Yeah, I was about to say, I can't wait to just hang out with Matt. We can just cook all night. It's going to be sweet.
Hell yeah.
Make each other steaks.
Parker, we'll cook for you.
Good
Don't
answer.
worry about it.
Yeah,
I'm down for that. I'm always down for that. I like cooking too. Steak, it's not my favorite thing to cook. I love cooking like Italian food, not even pasta, like ziti's and lasagnas. I make the most unhealthy Italian food that you can ever think of, but people like it, and I guess that's what matters the most.
That's all that matters, right?
My impressive random thing that I just learned how to make, my go-to dish is mussels and white wine. Parker knows this. When we lived in Spain, I would go to the grocery store at least once a week, get a baguette, a 99 euro bottle of wine, white wine, garlic and mussels, and just cook them up. And it makes you look like you know what you're doing, but it's so easy.
Yeah.
But my new thing that I really am proud that I learned how to make was I learned how to make Caesar salad dressing from scratch, which I think most people don't even think about or try to do. But yeah,
What's the key?
That's like,
what's the key to it?
it's just like, it's really not hard. It's just gross. Like
Anchovies.
it's lemon and a shit ton of mayo and anchovy. Like you're just like, really? Like this isn't Caesar dressing? But then you put it together and it's good. It's just funny.
There you go.
All right, next
rapid fire, Parker. You got it?
Next rapid fire. Ooh, man. Okay. So you asked the dish question. I mean, what's your favorite? We've talked about powerful moments earlier in this podcast. Have you had a powerful experience in a restaurant that was like, oh my God, this is insane? That feeling that unique feeling, out of body.
Interesting. In a restaurant recently, I would say from like a flavor perspective, I had quite the experience at what most people pronounce as Soother, but what I believe the correct pronunciation is Sood, which is a Thai place in the East Village. But they just have like some really interesting takes on a lot of kind of the traditional Thai dishes, and it's very like dark inside and kind of like gives you that feeling. I've never been to Thailand, but I feel like I'd imagine that that's what it's like being in Thailand. And they have really amazing drinks and kind of just like the energy of the whole restaurant. And I also shared that meal with some special people, and that was just a moment where I really tried to focus on like the flavors that I was tasting and like really focus on the food and being in that moment and chewing a little bit slower than I normally do to like really just like be in the moment and be present.
Sounds great.
To say I'm excited to meet you in person and go out to dinner with you and hang out would be an understatement. I am so excited for the next time I'm in New York for all of us to get together and to create one of those special friend memories, because essentially a good meal at a place where you can hear each other with food is like a podcast with topic of conversation. Like, and I'm so excited to share that. And I love meeting fellow foodies. So
I will say, Matt,
great.
To your point about Thailand, Sam and I have both been, and I will say the food can get really damn spicy. I remember, Sam, we sat outside. You remember
so
along
soft.
the water. You remember that? I think you even avoided the hot and spicy dish. The soup.
Yeah, I'm not dumb.
Yeah.
There it's
I'll have
there
all
it's
of it.
intense.
I'll have
And
all the
it
yeah,
was
I can imagine that.
like, first of all, I don't know why I got soup.
You were
like,
unwell.
In 90-degree weather in Thailand.
99 degrees.
Yeah, like
That's a crazy move.
dude, it
That's
was
an absolutely crazy move.
You know when you like your mouth is literally numb, like the rest of the food just doesn't taste like anything. That's what it was. It's crazy.
Incredible.
Man,
Travel
incredible.
too.
So
That's how you really can learn about food. All right, Matt, I want to wrap us up with our final question to let you go and cook your pepper dish of the evening. It is dinner time. So our last question, we ask every single elevator when they join Elevation Nation. This is the last step to get into the community. We want to know, Matt, what is your mental motto?
My mental motto is something that my dad has instilled in me since I was very young, and that is to enjoy every sandwich, which is a famous line that Warren Zevon said on a talk show after he found out that he was very sick. And I think the idea that you can enjoy the everyday little moments in life of food, of a conversation in a coffee shop, of doing something at work that may not feel that exciting, to be alive and to be healthy and to have the opportunity to do those things, and just kind of take that attitude through life, is that I don't need to be traveling or going to the most expensive restaurant in order to be happy. If I'm healthy, if the people around me are healthy, if I have a good, some good food that's in front of me, I'm going to enjoy the journey of life as I kind of experience it. And I think it's just a good and exciting way to live, is to enjoy those little moments, because that's actually what makes up most of life, right? Like, of course, Parker talked about earlier, graduation or getting married or having kids. Like, there are those like bigger moments. But if you think like that's such a small percentage of my life, and I'm not gonna wait around for those big moments to make myself feel happy or feel fulfilled. I think there's a lot of magical moments that are happening around us all the time, and I want to be eyes wide open, enjoying those moments as they come, because that's most of your life right there. So
Such a fitting mental motto for you. I think a beautiful message in life. I think we all can slow down a little bit, enjoy the little basic things in life, and take a bite of that sandwich and enjoy it.
I love
Parker,
it.
go ahead.
I said I love it. I think it's awesome. I love sandwiches. Who doesn't love sandwiches? And when you think about it even further, just enjoy the moment. It brings you back, right? Be mindful of what you have. You're alive. You're already winning at the end of the day. So you might as well enjoy the
right,
fucking
the
sandwich.
chances, right, the chances, like, right. I always just am amazed when I think about it. Like, the chances of us being alive at this time where there's so many cool things happening, like, we've already hit the lottery. And if you realize that, like, the fact we get to play the game, right? We get the opportunity
Yeah.
to play the game and to become whatever we want in this life. And, I think all three of us and all of Elevation Nation realizes that we're not going to let that opportunity slip away from us. And it's going to be uncomfortable, and there's going to be trials and tribulations and shitty times along the way. But if you want to be that best version of yourself, you have to keep putting yourself out there and challenging yourself and talking to people about these different topics. So I just want you guys to know I appreciate you guys a ton. So stoked to meet you in person and kick it and share a meal together. But what you guys are doing, so incredible, and like anything I can do to support, just know I'm here.
The feeling is mutual. Elevation Nation, until next week, peace.